You are watching Co-op for Two, broadcasting live from Champaign, Illinois, May 10th, 2023. It's a Wednesday at 11 p.m. And yesterday we played the Deadbolt Mystery Society game called Temple of X, which I have in front of me. And after we played it, took about 4.5 hours. I quite liked it. It had an interesting science fiction-y thing. And I guess I should pause here before I continue. This is going to be a very short stream, but it's going to be spoilers for this box, which we played yesterday. So if you haven't watched yesterday's stream and are interested, probably shouldn't be watching this stream. Certainly not if you plan to play this box. But this will be a short stream, only an hour. And after this, at midnight my time, in 1 hour from now, I'll have another stream where we play through the first part of this box, Escape from the Asylum. So feel free to leave now if you don't want spoilers for this box. Okay, so having said that, it took us about 4.5 hours to play through this. It had a very cool ending, science fiction-y ending that was a bit ambiguous. And someone posted on the stream yesterday, a person by the name of Elaine Covington. And Elaine Covington said, "You seem to enjoy the ambiguous ending to Temple of X, but there's more to the story if you're curious. The micro mystery card you tossed aside when you opened the box has a link to some online documents to be used in conjunction with several items from the box. After you solve a few additional puzzles, you'll be rewarded with the true ending to the story." So let's see what Elaine is talking about. When I opened the box, there were actually 3 different little postcards here called, now I didn't notice this when I first looked at them, Micro Mysteries, and it says subscriber exclusive. It says scan after you have completed Temple of X. Now I didn't remember whether I bought this box from the company directly, which I do sometimes when they go on sale, or from someone on eBay. It looks like I probably bought this box in a lot from someone on eBay who was a subscriber. So as a little bit of an aside, let's talk about the different size mysteries that Deadbolt Mystery Society makes. Most of their boxes are their same boxes that they sell on subscription. You can buy them one-off. Cost about $28 now. They also have something called mini mysteries occasionally, which are half-size games. Half-length, they cost about $15. They come in an envelope. That's what I thought there were. I thought there were just those 2 kind. And I'm not interested in a shorter experience. I just want the longer experience. But Elaine says that for a short period, 6 months, she says only, Deadbolt Mystery Society tried this experiment, I guess, where they would send these extra little puzzles that were digital only, called micro mysteries, to subscribers only. So if you bought the standalone box, you wouldn't get that. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if they're starting to include these in when you buy one-off. So I don't know if you would get this if you bought this game standalone. It's a QR code. I assume it's just going to work like all the other QR codes. We'll probably get a PDF file from this and have a small little extra mystery to solve. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to solve this little micro mystery. I think we'll get it done in under an hour. We'll see. Elaine says you actually use some of the components, so we'll see how it goes. If it goes over an hour, that's fine. then that'll just push back the midnight stream. All right, let's just very quickly catch up with the chat. Matt says, where do you get the videos for the intros that play while we're waiting? The video intro for this stream is a Deadbolt Mystery Society video from YouTube. In general, though, I get them from Motion Array, which is a subscription service you pay for like $15, $20 a month, and they've got tons and tons of video and audio files you can use in your stream. So if you're interested in, there are a bunch of these different licensed music video services. Motion Array is a fairly cheap one. All right, so let's scan this. Let's start going. I don't know how much time it's going to take us, so we might as well jump right into it. All right, so again, if you haven't watched yesterday's stream, none of this is going to make sense. So I've scanned it, and here we go. All right, so I see it's not a single PDF. It's a web page that says download the file, hints and solutions. All right, well, let's download the file. So is this going to be a PDF? It doesn't even want to show it to us because it's Chrome. Yes, okay, so it's a PDF file, standalone PDF file that represents this micro mystery. All right. How is everyone doing? I think when I get the urge to do these multiple streams in one night, it's because I'm trying to avoid doing real work, but so I'm not sure how healthy it is. And maybe this is the time to remind the audience that if you want to see more of this kind of content, you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. If nothing else, it makes me feel better about doing these videos. All right, let's see. Jonathan says, I'm going to guess it's going to reveal it to be more grounded. Okay, so this is a big question. At the end of yesterday's stream, we wondered if this story was real science fiction. Was it someone on Earth manipulating these cultist people? And it was an ambiguous ending, and Jonathan is now guessing that the real solution is going to be that it's not science fiction-y, that it's grounded in reality. So you could get your bets in now. Okay, so it said for the micro mystery that the password on that postcard said the password was grot. Seems to want to open it twice, I guess. Probably it downloaded and wanted to open it. Okay, so yes, I guess it opened it in two different programs, but this is the one we want, and we're going to remove the protection so that we don't get asked for it again. All right, let's see what we've got here. Temple of X, beginning brief. Wow, okay, so this is a 6-page thing. All right, this could take us more than an hour, but we're here for however long it takes. You are a Will Street detective. A month ago, you made your grand escape from the Temple of X, a bizarre alien-centered doomsday cult based in Valley Falls. For the better part of a week, the Temple of X and its demise dominated the news. But it is Valley Falls after all, and before long, another story will push all thoughts of the cult into the past. Just when you thought you and the Temple of X were finished, however, a package arrives on your doorstep without a return address. Years of training and experience kick in, and you don a pair of rubber gloves before carefully opening the box. Inside, you find an old document folder with a label reading Temple of X. A small locked box with a taped note, a grid of colored numbers, a note on Temple of X letterhead, and a note addressed to you that reads, Detective, we did not all ascend. Neil King made his fortune by preying on those vulnerable people who sought a purpose, a belonging. I don't know how much of it I believe anymore, but for a time I was inside his sphere of influence. I was a trusted aide to the man who guided the temple. I regret that involvement, especially when the news broke about what happened in the compound. Those people were once my friends, misguided and blinded by a charismatic lunatic. I was almost to the point of joining Neil's inner circle, but I realized what was going on and left. I'm turning over what Neil called my final test to you. I was led to believe that once solved, I would know all the secrets of the cult. Given that Neil is still out there somewhere, it's my hope that there is something in here that can help get him convicted. I never made sense of the stuff. I frankly don't want to. Good luck, Detective Mr. X. Unsure of what else could be learned about the cult, you decide to look at what Mr. X sent. The Temple of X. You have been a faithful, dear so-and-so, it said. You have been a faithful servant to the temple and have taken the lessons to heart. I believe you're now ready for the final test. This will determine if you're fit to join the inner circle of Tsar. I have faith in your ability. Join me, and together we will spread the teachings of Tsar. When the time comes, you'll know where to go. Until then, open the box. You will need your periodic table of elements, the observation team patch, and the ship tokens from your temple book, as well as the book itself. Okay, so the pieces we need from the box are let's see here. We're told we need all these things I put away. Okay, so the Temple of X book, the periodic table, this stuff that we didn't punch out, that I made a copy of but then threw out. So rather than worry about it, I'm just going to punch it out since I already punched out the other thing. All right, this is the patch we need, the little X. The observation team. Oh, maybe this is the observation team patch. Table of elements and the ship tokens, as well as the temple book. Okay, so it sounds like it's saying that's all we need from these pieces in the original box. Okay. I really wonder whether this was... Did they do these little bonus micro case? Did they develop it at the same time? Did they develop it was it an afterthought? We don't know. All right. As well as the book itself. Okay. Neil King, Luminary Rigo. All right, here we go. The number of times our enemy is mentioned by name in our text, the total number of Exarian months without visions, the number of faithful observed going on board, the total number of planets that form the great eclipse. All right, so actually one of those sounds like we need that other document, but let's see. The number of times our enemy is mentioned by name. All right, so I guess it's asking us to... I went ahead and put a front inset in this view. Okay, it's asking us to come up with a bunch of numbers that give us 4 digits for a combination. Okay, so number of times enemy is mentioned in the book. So I guess we're looking through this book. We know who the enemies are. They're the grots. So we're looking for, I guess we're just counting how many times the grots are mentioned. And this isn't really this is more like just a extra work to do, not really requiring much brain power. Okay, the Zarians and the Grots. The Grots were malevolent beings. That's twice. Wiped out by the Grots. That's 3 times. the evil grots 4 times. Grot should look like 5 times. Grots possess near superpowers. It's 6. Dangerous 7. 8. So it looks like 8 to me. Number of times our enemy mentioned, I think that's 8. Okay, second digit. Let's see, channel wants me to look at something. Jesse, add 1 for the title. What are the grots? Okay. Good catch. That makes 9. Very good catch. All right. Next question is the total Zarian months without visions. All right, well, that one's fairly straightforward. We're told here is the calendar of months, and there's only 1 month that has no visions. That's 1. All right. That's our 1 month without vision. The number of faithful observed going on board. Well, we had this question before. It sounds like it's 2 from this patch. So I believe that's 2 on board. I don't think it's asking us for how many went on board during the story. It's here on this patch. The number of planets that form the Great Eclipse. Now, this is the weird one, but I guess the answer is 3. Yeah, I was going to think it needed those rings, but really, those rings have many more than 9, so it wouldn't be a digit. I think it's just asking us for the 3 items in the rings. Chat seems to agree with me here, 3 planets. All right, so our answer to this is 9, 1, 2, 3. We haven't needed the periodic table for anything yet, but that's all right. We're just dealing with this one. All right, now here we've got a weird situation where we've got a QR code on the tablet itself, and I have to figure out how to have it open that. I mean, I know one way I can do it. All right, get rid of this. I know one way we can do it is we can screenshot it and then open it in the screenshot. And then how do we get it to... I'm sure there's a way to scan this for code. So we're looking at the screenshot. A little tricky, huh? How do we get it to... Let me see if the chat has any ideas of how to go from... This is not very useful. This is some other program that should be able to do it, but doesn't want to. Okay. And from our PDF reader, is there a way to select it and scan it? print it out and then put it in front of the tablet. Yes, that is certainly one way. Maybe we'll do that while we're waiting. Six pages, but we only want that one page. We'll try this as our... Oh, there's more pages in here, I see. I'll print that one out too, and that one. Now let's print this out, and we'll try to figure out how to do that in the future. Surely there's a way to do it. I do have a QR code reading program. I could try to open a screenshot with that. Did it do it? Let's see. 9, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if that did it. Okay, it did it. All right, so I don't know exactly how I did it, but I did it. The lockbox opens once the correct numbers are selected, and you cautiously open the lid, unsure of what to expect. Inside, you find only one thing, a torn page from a book. Journey to Earth. Let me just make sure I save this without the password. Okay, Journey to Earth. The Great Cataclysm will occur once the 4 Grot ships arrive. But the journey to reach Earth is one we can study in preparation for the end. The ships will use interdimensional portals to traverse vast distances in space. Little is known of the portals, but through Luminary Rigo, Zar has offered this insight. The great distances are only crossed by utilizing the portals. Each ship will take a similar path that repeats from red, yellow, green, and then blue from its own starting point until each one reaches the end. Ships cannot move diagonally. Once they reach their end, it's customary for the Grot warlords to reflect on their own auras and take note of those colors they pass through. The portals are made up of an element not yet known in your realm. When the ships begin their journey, the faithful must prepare to ascend. Each ship will start in its own galaxy and end in a designated place to make its final approach to Earth. That's it, huh? I wonder if this isn't... Well, here we're told what color each thing is, but I don't think this is the full puzzle. Each ship takes a similar path that repeats from red, yellow, green, and then blue from its own starting point. All right, so this is just some information, but not a full puzzle in and of itself. So let's just maybe print this out, and it's going to be used with another puzzle. So let's go back to this puzzle here. Oh, here's our journey, I see. Okay. So let's see if it doesn't work better. Landscape. Is that everything? Yes. Okay. So here's your image here. So we can see they each start in one of the corners. They have to go in the order we were just told. Red, yellow, or whatever. I have to go back to it. I guess I have to come off this. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it. This one and this one. Okay. So let me just go leave this on you while I go get the printout. Okay, so we've opened it up, and here is our grid on the table. And then here is our sheet here. Okay, so let's put them where they start. Keyword starts here. Or starts in the upper right. Viger starts here. Zarg starts here. Be easier actually if we use cubes because these circles seem a little big. So let's just, I guess, I don't know if it means they start in this corner. So Kior starts on a red, but Zarg starts. Do you think that would mean it starts here, like it's approximately here? And then the Viger starts on blue. That doesn't seem right. Or would start on green, but that would put it here. So maybe it starts here. And then there's an end, an end, an end, and an end. So I wonder if it's saying that we start off the map. It says ships cannot move diagonally. They'll take a similar path that repeats red, yellow, green, and blue from its starting point. Then they'll end in their own destination. And then where do we put this? Where is the code where we put this? Okay, let's see. Jonathan says, we're going to plot the route to planet X again. I think you need the grid page you print out. I think they just start in the corners of the grid. So you think they start on these spaces like this. Certainly possible. Once they reach their end, it's customary for them to reflect on their auras and take note of those colors they passed through. That's just weird to me. So they all go red, yellow, green, and blue. Each ship takes a similar path that repeats red, yellow, green, and blue. Okay, so actually the corners are all red. Okay, so they start at red. So they all go red. Let's do this guy first. He goes red, yellow, green, and blue. Okay, this guy goes red, yellow. That doesn't work. Oh, red, yellow, green, blue. Okay, this guy goes red, yellow, green, blue. This guy goes red, yellow, green, blue. Okay. And I think we're probably going to be just caring about where they end, right? So I think they just repeat. So let's just do this guy. But then it says, when they reach their end, they reflect on, take note of those colors they passed through. I don't know why it's talking about colors they passed through. Okay, but then, so this guy would go red, yellow, green, blue. And then again, red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. And this guy's finished. Okay, so that was the keyword guy. ended up there. All right, next guy goes red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. He also ends up here. That was Zarg. This guy, red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. That's his end. That's the Viger ends there. This guy's going red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. That's his end. That was a convoluted one, if I didn't mess anything up. Which guy was that, Borg? Let me just do them again. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, green, blue. Maybe it sounds like I went off track, but he still ended up in the same place. So that would, Jonathan's saying maybe I'd record all the numbers, but maybe not. Is there only one path that's working? There is only one path that works for each person. But I think then if we were to write down their ending points, what we would get is that the Kior guy ended up in 8. Zarg ended up at 8. Borg ended up in 16. And Viger ended up in 60. And this is blue, blue, blue. They all finish in blue. Okay. Feels to me like probably that's our answer, 8, 8, 16, 60. That seems like the right length of an answer. Listed in order of the 4 ships. But there are unused spots. To me, though, it's too big of a coincidence that there was an answer. But the other weird thing is there's no scan code for this. The only scan code is when you've solved all the challenges, and we didn't use this. So I'm a little bit confused as to whether it wants us to scan this and put in the answer. The lockbox doesn't have anything to scan, right? It's just one page. Doesn't have anything for us to scan. It's also weird that this thing says they reflect on their aura and take note of the colors they passed through. The portals were made up of an element not yet known in your realm. When the ships begin their journey, the faithful must prepare to ascend. They end in a designated place. Like it's weird that it's not clear what it wants us to do here, but we could certainly try scanning this and see what it asks us. Weird though. No, here's another problem. It says, where do you go? No caps, no spaces. Like, that doesn't sound like it wants digits. We've got numbers here, 8, 8, 16, 60. That has nothing to do with where we go. and it doesn't use the periodic table. Once they reach their end, it is customary for the grot warlords to reflect on their own auras and take note of the colors they pass through. Let's just look at this. It's so weird. Once they reach their end, okay, so we found their endpoints. Fine. 8, 8, 16, 60. So we found that they reach their end. It's customary for them to reflect on their own auras. What does that mean, reflect on their own auras? Take note of those colors they passed through. That's a very weird statement because we know they all pass through the same colors, so that's confusing me. The portals are made up of an element not yet known in your realm, which makes me think of periodic table of an element. I mean, we do have numbers, 8s and 16s and 60s, but I don't know how we would use that. Each ship will start in its own galaxy, end in a designated place to make its final approach. End in a designated place. Well, this thing's where do you go? That's the question at the end, assuming the end question is what we're supposed to solve. Jonathan says, can we turn the final numbers into element names on the table? I mean, I suppose we could. If we look at atomic numbers, 8 is oxygen. So that would be OO, and then 16 is S. And then 60 boy, it's hard to see without zooming in here. Where is my 60? Do we have an element 60? Need glasses for this. This doesn't seem like the right thing to do. 60 is ND. So if you did it by elements, it would be OOSND. OOSND. That seems like it's nothing. Strange. Very strange. Strange. Well, we found their endpoints. They end in a designated place to make their final approach to Earth. The biggest confusion I have is just the whole idea that this thing says when you've solved all the challenges, ready to pass the test. Like, I'm just confused. It feels like there should be another code to scan to solve the grid puzzle. What is the number for the end we didn't use? The one end we didn't use is 0. Where do you go? The question for the final thing is, where do you go? I'm going to scan this because that's so bizarre to me that there's not a different question. I find that very weird. Very confusing. So here's the solution. It's supposed to be an answer to where we go. No caps, no spaces, which makes it sound like it's letters. I'm just going to put in these numbers here. 8, 8, 16, 60. That makes no sense that this would be where we go. No. Weird. Very weird. Very confusing. All right, let's try to think this through then. Is this our final test? Okay, let's see. When the time comes, you will know where to go. Until then, open the box. You need your periodic table of elements, which we haven't done. We haven't used. As well as the book. You will know where to go. Chat says, I think the upper left one ends on the left east side. Left side end, all right. You think the upper left one, the keyword, I did wrong? Okay, let's try it. So here it goes here. Red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue. Okay, you're right. He's there. Okay. So that's a 0. Not an 8. All right, so they did all go to their own... Sorry that you didn't see that. They did all go to their own different endpoint, which Jonathan flagged from the beginning as weird that we didn't have an unused end. So now we have 0, 8, 16, 60, which causes problems with our idea of looking up these, because there's no such thing as an element with 0 number. Okay, but now we have 0, 8, 16, 60. I guess we could try this as the code, but that would only make sense if we assumed that the goal was to annoying, was to come up with this number set, which I don't know why it would. Let's try it now. 0, 8, 16, 60. I have no idea why this would be the answer. No. Okay. Doesn't it feel like this should be a separate puzzle? The abbreviation of the color of the ship is, and add periodic abbreviation. What if we did what? Took the abbreviation of the color the ship is on, the PDF, and then add the periodic abbreviation we get from the end number to them. Assume 0 means keep it blank. That sounds kind of insane to me. I think you're trying to say spell out some word with these ships. Let me pause us for a second. Matt says, let's try to open the case first. What are you talking about? Did we not open the case? We opened the case. That's how we got this document. This is the part I'm struggling with. Let's pause for a second and just think this through. The first, we open this book. Okay. Here's our brief. He says he's going to he sends us a small locked box, a tape note, a grid of colored numbers, and a note. Okay. Here's the note, and it says, when the time comes, you will know where to go. But until that happens, open the box. When the time comes, you will know where to go. So what we're trying to figure out is where to go. Okay, so we did that. Then we opened this box. The only other thing in this document is this grid and this thing which says, where do you go? So let's ignore this part about solved all the challenges. Ready to pass test. It's just asking us where to go, which is going to be letters. Okay. When we open the box, we just get this. This is the entirety of what we get from opening the box. So the question is, where do we go? Where do we go? And what we've solved here is where the grots arrive. Once they arrive, the journey to Earth is one we can study. Okay, ships will use interdimensional portals. He offered this insight. The great distances are only crossed by utilizing the portals. Each ship will take a similar path that repeats from its own starting point until each one reaches the end. Ships cannot move down. Once they reach their end, it's customary for the grot warlords to reflect on their own auras. And take note of those colors they passed through. What on earth does that mean? The portals are made up of an element not yet known in your realm. Well, that doesn't help us then if it's not on our periodic table. When the ships begin, the faithful must prepare to ascend. Each ship will start in its own galaxy and end in a designated place to make its final approach. Well, that's fine. We figured out their end spaces. What does it want from us? How are we supposed to know where we go? It can't be that it wants the... It can't be that it wants us to type in the sequence, because the sequence is far, far too long and it's all numbers. And I suppose we could spell out the paths. No, we can't. We can't spell out the paths using the periodic table because there's no number 0 and there may be other numbers we pass through that are too high for our periodic table. Plus, that would make no sense. It would make no sense. I mean, I'm willing to do it for one, as Jonathan is suggesting, But it would make absolutely no sense that it would want this information. That answer would not be where to go. But all right, let's start out. So let's look at this guy who's up here. He starts out at 114. So periodic element 114 is Fl. This is, I'm not going to be happy if this is it. For one reason, it's just pain in the ass. Fl. So where did we say? We said he ended up here. So Fl. So red, yellow, which is 25, which is Mn. FLMN. Okay, so far we've got FLMN. Red, yellow, green is 1. That's H. And blue is 5, which is B. So here's our words so far. FLMN. So unless we're supposed to give an answer in an alien language, that doesn't seem like it's relevant. It's also completely bizarre that this is telling us where we want to go. And what does it mean they reflect on their aura and take note of the colors they pass through? What on earth is that supposed to mean? Where do we want to go? What does that mean, where we want to go? Auras are the colors around the ships. All right, so let's think about it. Once they reach the end, they reflect on their own auras. Once they reach their end, they reflect on their own auras. Take note of the colors they pass through. Does it mean that red goes to blue? Reflect on your own aura. What does that mean? It's not just what does it mean, it's that, okay, I gotta calm down a bit. I'm getting too worked up, getting too angry about this, but we've got like 3 levels of this that's confusing. What does this mean? What do we get out of this? And how on earth does that translate into the name of some place, some letters that we use? It's those multiple layered confusions that has me frustrated. And the lingering feeling that like we're missing a QR code to scan. So we've sent them all to their end. We figured out where they end. Okay, let me see what the chat says. The numbers of the colors that match the ships. Numbers of the colors. Numbers of the colors that match the ship. Don't know what that means. Numbers of colors that match the ship. Check those numbers against the periodic table. Elaine says, pay attention to each spaceship's color and figure out which squares on their route reflect that. I see. All right, no hints, Elaine. Elaine, you should be asleep. Elaine said, okay. So, but actually, I mean, this is one of these rare cases where I'm getting frustrated and I feel like I don't mind a hint, but okay. It sounds like check the numbers of the colors that match the ship. I see. Okay, so what the channel is saying is that they all go through their convoluted paths, but when we trace the red ship, we should only record red numbers and so on. So let's restart. Boy, I find that kind of annoying, to be honest. But, all right, so starting with Keylor, who's red. He starts with 114. And it goes red, yellow, green, blue, and then red, which is 47. Yellow, green, blue, and then red, yellow, green, blue, and then red, yellow, green, blue, and he's done. So that path was 114, 47, 16, 1. So if we look at these tables, 114 was the FL, that was Jonathan's theory. 47 is AG. 16 is S. And 1 is H. Okay, well this sounds like it could be spelling something out. So that was our red. Flagship. This is going to say flagship is heading somewhere, I guess. All right, the yellow. Zarg. It starts here. Let's take these off the map. Starts red, yellow, which is 53. Red, yellow, green, blue. Red, yellow, which is 15. Green, blue. Red, yellow, which is 53. Green, blue, and then red, yellow, which is 16. Green, blue. All right. So 53 is I. This is going to be ship now. Flag ships. This is going to be a P, no doubt. 53 is I. 16 is flagship is. Okay, well, it's clear we've got the solution here. I'm not happy about it, but okay. Maybe you think it's fair. Red, yellow, green, which is 85. Blue, red, yellow, green. Blue, red, yellow, green. Blue, red, yellow, green, blue. Okay, so 85 is at 18 is S. 19 is K. And 92 is U. Okay, lastly we have blue, which is Viger here. Okay, so red, yellow, green, blue, which is a 7. Red, yellow, green, blue, 19. Red, yellow, green, blue, 84. Then red, yellow, green, blue, which is 60. Come on. Okay, so final piece of words are atomic code 7, atomic code 19, which is K, and 84, which is PO, and then 60, which is ND. So the full word is I see someone's reminding me that I've gone late into the past the time of the other one. That's all right. Okay, so it says flagship is at Skunk Pond. So there's our answer there. Let's put it in to our solution, which we need to rescan because of the way these things work, I guess. So flagship is at Skunk Pond. Now we know where we want to go to catch the flagship, I guess. Is it our flagship? All right, well, Skunk Pond. You've never heard of Skunk Pond, but after a few online searches and a call to the Forestry Service, you find Skunk Pond tucked away in a dark wooded corner of Valley Falls that once played host to a mining operation. Shuddering at the thought of venturing back into the woods, you remind yourself that this could mean catching Neil King. So after a long drive out of town, you leave your car and begin the trek to Skunk Pond, all the while wondering what you'll find at such an oddly named pond. The hike is reminiscent of your original trip to the compound, but you're more alert this time. You have your pistol handy and your head on a swivel as you push your way through the undergrowth. The pond is as nondescript as you imagined, and after walking around the small body of water, you find nothing to indicate the cult's presence until you see the flag. Short distance from the pond, you see a faded, tattered purple flag with a gold X. The sight causes a surge of adrenaline to rush through your body. Drawing your weapon, you carefully approach the flag. As you move past some brush, you see that flag. The flag is on a metal pole and marks the location of an old silver Airstream trailer. Fading sunlight glints off its surface. You watch for a moment and see no movement outside the trailer, but sounds come from the camper itself, as if someone or something is moving inside it. Cautiously, you make your way toward the camper, gun at the ready. As you reach the door, you do indeed hear someone inside. The person appears to be talking to themselves, but you cannot make out the sounds. Silently counting down to 3, you bust open the door to the camper, level your gun, and yell, "Freeze!" On the other end of your weapon stands Neil King, draped in a purple robe and looking disheveled. He stares back at you, frozen with a look of fear. "Who are you?" he asks. You tell him who you are and inform him that you're placing him under arrest for what happened at the Temple of X, a hurt look crosses his face and he cuts you off. Arrest! You do realize the end is here, detective. If you entered the temple, then you no doubt know the truth. I came here to the flagship to ascend, but something went wrong. I've prayed to Tsar, and I now know how to leave without the aid of a ship. He raises his hand and points to the small wooden table in the center of the camper. On it sits a small pitcher filled with red liquid. Nearby there are a few medicine bottles, but one label is easy to read. Arsenic. The bottle is empty. Neil slowly moves towards the table while he talks. You tell him to stop, but he ignores you. Tsar chose me, and I must join my followers on the new homeworld, he says. Detective, you can join me. He reaches down and picks up the pitcher. Neil, that is poison. Your followers are dead, and you are responsible, you exclaim. Neil's passive expression becomes one of anger. Grat! You are no human. You have been sent here to stop me from making my journey. Neil, put that down, and put your hands... Neil raises the plastic glass of red liquid. Rushing forward, you knock the cup from his hands before it reaches his mouth, causing red liquid to splash everywhere. The smell of garlic, a telltale sign of arsenic mixed with fruit punch, fills the room. Neil screams and yells protests as you wrestle him to the trailer floor. You manage to get the handcuffs on him. With him subdued, you place a call to the authorities, and after some time they arrive at the secluded location of Neil's so-called flagship. As Neil is carried away by police, he maintains his rage, but now claims Tsar will personally destroy you and everyone who dared to stand against his temple. His protests end once the door is slammed on the police cruiser. The following week, you watch happily as the news shows an orange jumpsuit-clad Neil King safely behind bars, where he will remain until he faces the laundry list of charges. He'll spend the rest of his life locked away from the world he sought to corrupt. The Temple of X is no more. Their leader is no more. Justice has been served to some degree, you note. The deaths of the misguided followers will hopefully serve as a cautionary tale for others. As you slide the file labeled Temple of X into the filing cabinet back at the Will Street office, you realize it is case closed. This time it's closed for good. All right. Well, I don't know about this. I don't know how I feel about this little micro bonus to subscribers. I was happy with the ending before. I'm not upset with this ending, but I don't think I would have needed it. I would be happy to not get it. And this last puzzle really was a bit frustrating from my standpoint. I think the rest of the channel seemed to have a better... where you guys got that it was probably going to use the periodic table of elements in some way to form words. And the reflection about the letters, I did not love that clue, but it was discoverable. Matt figured it out. I guess the part that I disliked really about it was that it didn't make any logical sense. It's not that uncommon for us to encounter puzzles where you're using something like the periodic table, and if you ask yourself why would this relate to this to spell out something, you kind of get lost because there's no good reason. But I guess if we assume he's kind of crazy and he's worked this out, then he's found hidden patterns in all of it. So maybe so. I just got stuck with the idea that it felt like we were missing a QR code. Like it could have been, I would have liked to have it spelled out a little bit more that this was the final puzzle. if I was doing this myself, I mean, it really helps to have the channel working on this together, but you could see how this could take you several hours if you got stuck on it to figure it out. Just too many moving pieces for me to be happy about it. Jonathan says, Matt gets MVP for this bonus micro for sure. John says, might have been more interesting if we gave it some more theories for what the weird body we saw at the end of the main box. Yes. Combination of Heaven's Gate and Jonestown cults, and don't forget Scientology for most of the case. That's what Annette says. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's fun to have to make this case a little longer, to have some bonus. It was one of the shorter ones. I just would have liked, that last puzzle threw me a bit, frustrated me. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to sign off now a little early. I still loved the original Temple of X. I just didn't quite love this little micro mystery. You can't complain getting some free extra puzzles. We're going to sign off now. I said the next stream, Escape from the Asylum, would start at midnight. We're a little bit after midnight now, so I'm going to sign off here, and I'll come back on at 12:30 in 15 minutes for the next stream. For anyone who wants to join me for that, thank you for joining me for this. I'll see you then. Hopefully anyone who was hoping to catch Escape from the Asylum has figured out it's just starting a little late. Okay, I'll see you in 15 minutes.